10 mistakes to avoid when visiting Europe. Most beautiful cities in the world are located in Europe, and there are a few things you should know about them if you are planning your first vacation there. We've put up the ultimate guide to the top 10 mistakes to avoid when visiting Europe. One of the most unforgettable trips you'll ever have takes you to the land of castles, delicious cuisine, national parks, and picturesque villages. If you are not properly prepared, it can, on the other hand, evolve into a nasty legend with a tragic conclusion. When traveling to Europe for the first time or returning, following these suggestions will ensure that your trip is as secure and comfortable as possible while still being epic in every way. Number 10. Keeping all of your cash in one location. European cities are renowned for their beauty, but they are also notorious for pickpocketing, tourist traps, and other scams to defraud travelers. When traveling, dividing your travel budget between your day trip bag, safe, and credit card is the most effective way to travel safely and enjoy yourself. If possible, avoid having your cash and credit card in the same place to be on the safe side. As a result, keeping your most valuable possessions in a single place is one of the travel mistakes to avoid when visiting Europe. Number 9. European travel without packing. One of the unique aspects of Europe is that you can experience all 4 seasons in a single day, whether it's sunny, wet, chilly, or humid. Consequently, failing to prepare for the weather in Europe is a travel mistake that should be avoided at all costs. The following items are necessary for your journey to Europe: t-shirts, rain and wind jacket, and a pair of comfortable shoes. It's better to pack in layers and wear them throughout the day. This way, you'll be comfortable in any weather and won't have to lug about a full wardrobe. Number 8. Relying on a guidebook rather than taking advantage of free city walking tours. A guidebook is a fantastic source of inspiration for a trip to Europe and creating a basic travel itinerary for the trip. However, failing to follow your itinerary is one of the most common travel mistakes to make in Europe. It implies that you will visit the same areas as millions of other visitors and behave like a tourist. Taking a free walking tour of the city is ideal for getting to know one of Europe's most beautiful and fascinating towns. You will be shown around the city by a fluent English guide. While showing you the city's most well-known attractions, the city walking tour guide will also tell you about the city's best-kept secrets and provide you with a plethora of advice and trips for exploring the city. The information provided includes cuisine recommendations, fantastic prices, hidden gems, and, most importantly, staying safe. Number 7. Eating at the first restaurant you come across. If you're a normal tourist, you'll stop for lunch at one of the popular fast food restaurants or at the first place you come across on your journey. You may, however, miss out on incredible eateries that serve wonderful local dishes and have breathtaking views that will take your breath away. Investing a small amount of time in advance of your trip to conduct research will reward you with an outstanding gastronomic experience. In addition to sampling delectable cuisine, you could save a few pennies by not splurging on the first place you come across. Great coffee, pastries, local food, and fantastic dishes at very low prices may all be found within walking distance. Number 6. Staying in the wrong neighborhood. When it comes to planning the perfect trip in Europe, location is one of the most critical considerations. When traveling in Europe, it is important to avoid making the mistake of not conducting your homework on the best section of town, neighborhood, or hamlet to stay in. Choose the location of your accommodation carefully. Choosing to stay in the incorrect area of town might cost you in terms of journey, time, traffic, expense, and overall safety and security. Number 5. Money exchange at an airport. Traveling to a different nation can be stressful, especially if you are unfamiliar with the language or have difficulty navigating the city. Managing your finances and foreign currencies can be a stressful experience. While exchanging money at the airport is convenient and trustworthy, it is one of the most common travel mistakes people make when traveling in Europe. Because of the fees you'll have to pay and the expense of exchanging money, it's wise to complete your research online before going to an exchange point. Additionally, you may always inquire at the front desk of your hotel, and they will be pleased to recommend reputable money exchange offices in the neighborhood. It is recommended that you exchange enough money to get you to and from the airport and enough money to last you for the first 1 to 2 days of your trip. Number 4. Choosing not to purchase tickets in advance. Europe is prohibitively pricey. Even if you travel to the most affordable destinations, visiting museums and other attractions will cost you a huge amount. Making the error of not purchasing tickets in advance is one of the most common mistakes when traveling through Europe, as evidenced by the millions of travelers who visit the continent each year. As a result, if you do your research and book in advance, you can get excellent prices on Europe's most famous landmarks, attractions, and activities. Sometimes you can get really good bargains just by ordering your tickets online, and doing so saves you a lot of time on your vacation, which is invaluable. Furthermore, if this is your first visit to Europe, you should be prepared to wait in large lines at checkpoints. In other words, booking transport and attraction tickets online will prevent you from having to stand in the pouring rain or on hot summer days, and will give you more time to see that scenic overlook and picnic spot. Number 3. Failure to obtain travel insurance. The answer is yes. European cities are some of the most developed and safest places on the planet. The cliffs in Europe's national parks are steep and brutal, and you must remember that you are still a human being. The most experienced hiker and tourist can still become sick, or have their ankle twisted, or their camera can be stolen while out on the trail or traveling. Travel insurance in Europe is necessary for various reasons, including health and other concerns. It would help not to skimp on purchasing travel insurance while traveling in Europe, since it is an absolute must. When traveling to Europe, you should avoid making the mistake of not purchasing travel insurance because it can end up costing you a small fortune. Number 2. Choosing not to take public transportation. When you hear the phrase public transportation, one of the first things that come to mind are packed buses, long lines, and traffic. However, public transportation in Europe includes more than just buses, trams, and trains. Some travelers prefer to rent a car rather than public transportation. However, public transportation in Europe is extremely comfortable, punctual, and inexpensive, and it is highly recommended. Trains make it possible to travel to the most isolated corners of Europe and incredible nature reserves, castles, and spectacular views. There is no better way to travel around Europe than by train. It is the most efficient and cost-effective mode of transportation. Number 1. Failure to travel to small towns and off-the-beaten-path destinations. If this is your first vacation to Europe, you will almost certainly be visiting the destinations that everyone has been raving about. If, on the other hand, you want to learn something unique about Europe, then skipping tiny villages and well-known cities is one of the travel mistakes to avoid when visiting Europe. It'll help if you plan your journey to some of Europe's most memorable off-the-beaten-path destinations as soon as possible. Of course, if you want to view and take the same pictures as the other millions of tourists who are swarming the streets of Paris, Milan, and Prague, you should follow the throng and do what they do. In contrast, if you have the wanderlust in your soul and are hunting for those undiscovered treasures, then arrange your journey around the little and distinct communities of Europe. To summarize, there are plenty of excellent spots to discover around Europe. You can plan a fantastic weekend getaway or a lengthy European vacation. The options are virtually limitless. However, when traveling to a foreign country, the game's rules differ from one country to the next depending on where you are. Tourists make the same mistakes repeatedly, and this is the only thing that hasn't changed. Our list of the top 10 travel mistakes to avoid when visiting Europe will keep you safe while making your vacation truly memorable. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, comment, and turn on the notification bell. This is Learning Canteen.